NSCN-IM, NSCN-K Niki Sumi, named by ZUF in Abduction case Refutation, a battle for credibility and control in the hills. Welcome viewers from Zeliangrong Media. On November 1, 2025, the Zeliangrong United Front, ZUF, issued a powerful press refutation through its Ministry of Information and Publicity, under the signature of Secretary Louis Gangmei. The document directly countered allegations circulating in Nungkhao news that accused ZUF of involvement in the abduction of an Apex Company construction worker in Nungkhao, Tamenglong District. ZUF dismissed the report as false, misleading and politically motivated, describing it as part of a deliberate attempt to tarnish the image of the organization and derail its political dialogue with the government of India. At the heart of the refutation lies a serious counter-allegation that the abduction was carried out not by ZUF, but by individuals belonging to rival Naga groups, specifically Mr. Chamden Kame and Tatlung Kame of NSCN-K, Niki Sumi, and Mr. Kandi of NSCN-IM. This bold naming of rival factions marked an escalation in the ongoing war of narratives within the hill politics of Manipur and Nagaland. The statement has set off discussions not only about the abduction itself, but also about the struggle for legitimacy, influence and political recognition among the different Naga and Zeliangrong factions. The ZUF's response was not simply about clearing its name, it was a declaration of intent. The group made it clear that it would leave no stone unturned in uncovering the truth and in defending the dignity and culture of the Zeliangrong people. The statement emphasized that ZUF was not only innocent, but also being deliberately targeted by factions that wanted to erode its credibility at a crucial juncture in its political journey. The timing of this press release cannot be ignored. ZUF has publicly stated that its political dialogue with the government of India is now in an advanced stage. Against this backdrop, any allegation of kidnapping or criminal activity could have devastating effects on its credibility. Therefore, this document serves a dual purpose: a defensive move to protect its image, and an offensive strike to expose what it claims are fabricated allegations by rival groups fearful of ZUF's rising legitimacy. The naming of NSCN-IM and NSCN-K Niki Sumi as perpetrators of the abduction carries deep implications. Both groups have long been central players in the Naga political movement, with decades of influence and control across territories. For ZUF to publicly accuse them is not only an act of defiance, but also a statement of independence. It suggests that ZUF now sees itself as standing on equal footing with these once dominant forces, capable of challenging their narrative authority. ZUF's choice of words in the press refutation is revealing. Terms like fallacious, misleading, and frantic attempt paint a picture of desperation among rival groups. The statement accuses these factions of trying to cover up their actions and find safe passage to escape from their guilty conviction. This language is not merely defensive, it is rhetorical warfare. ZUF is asserting that its adversaries are cornered and resorting to falsehoods to divert attention from their own misdeeds. Such public exchanges between insurgent and political groups in the hills are not new, but rarely are they so direct and confrontational. For decades, rival groups have competed over narratives of legitimacy: who truly represents the people, who controls what territory, and who has the moral right to negotiate with the Indian government. The abduction allegation has therefore become a symbolic battleground over credibility and public trust. ZUF's mention of amassing wealth in Zeliangrong areas by means of extortion and repeated abduction is a particularly sharp accusation. It exposes what ZUF views as the economic motives of rival factions, groups that, according to ZUF, continue to exploit local populations under the guise of revolutionary taxation. By contrasting itself against this behavior, ZUF attempts to portray its own movement as disciplined, reformist, and aligned with the welfare of the people rather than profit. The deeper story here is one of evolving identity and competition within the fractured landscape of ethnic movements in northeast India. The Zeliangrong movement has historically occupied a complex position, culturally connected to the Naga family, but politically distinct in its aspiration for autonomous recognition. When ZUF emerged years ago, it did so partly in response to what it saw as the neglect or manipulation of Zeliangrong interests by Naga-dominated political structures. That legacy continues to shape its interactions with groups like NSCN-IM. Thus, when ZUF names NSCN-IM and NSCN-K in such a serious allegation, it is not only responding to a single event, it is challenging a long-standing imbalance of power. It is asserting that the Zeliangrong political movement can no longer be sidelined or scapegoated. The press statement also underlines a moral and cultural dimension. It speaks of protecting the goodwill culture and prestigious dignity of the Zeliangrong people. This phrase elevates the issue beyond politics or militancy. It frames the conflict as an assault on the community's moral identity. By invoking dignity and culture, ZUF seeks to transform a news controversy into a cause for collective pride and defense. In the eyes of the local population, this kind of rhetoric carries weight. The Zeliangrong people, long divided across administrative and state lines, are united by cultural and historical consciousness. For many, seeing their leadership openly defend community dignity against external accusations reinforces trust. It becomes less about the factual details of the abduction and more about who speaks with courage and conviction. ZUF's assertion that any attempt to distort or create confusion shall not be tolerated is another important signal. It implies both resolve and warning. To rival groups, it conveys that ZUF will not allow others to dictate its narrative. To its followers and the public, it reassures them of stability and direction. And to the Indian authorities observing these developments, it subtly communicates that ZUF remains a coherent and disciplined negotiating entity. The media plays a significant role in this drama. By naming Kongthang News directly, ZUF has brought the question of press responsibility to the forefront. In regions of conflict, local media often becomes a battleground for influence, where information is weaponized to shape public sentiment. For ZUF, issuing an official document with formal reference numbers and ministry letterhead is a deliberate attempt to project administrative seriousness. It distinguishes itself from rumor-driven outfits and aims to demonstrate that it operates with the structure and decorum of a governing body. The implications of this are significant. If ZUF continues to present itself in such a formal, organized manner, it could further strengthen its claim as a legitimate political stakeholder in the peace process. The government, as well as civil society, tends to engage more easily with groups that exhibit institutional discipline and transparency. This is likely part of ZUF's long-term strategy, to transition from a resistance group into a political organization with both local and international credibility. Still, the challenges ahead are enormous. The allegations, even when refuted, leave behind traces of doubt. Rival groups will likely continue to exploit such controversies to weaken ZUF's position. Moreover, public opinion in the hill regions is increasingly shaped by social media, where unverified claims can spread faster than official clarifications. ZUF's credibility will depend on how consistently it upholds transparency, accountability, and restraint in the face of provocation. This episode also offers insight into the broader Northeast political landscape, where intergroup rivalries often overshadow the common aspiration for peace and recognition. Instead of uniting against the forces of oppression and underdevelopment, many factions engage in infighting that drains energy and divides communities. ZUF's statement indirectly points to this reality by accusing others of amassing wealth and misleading the people. It exposes the tragic irony that, while the rhetoric of liberation continues, some groups have turned the struggle into a livelihood mechanism. Ultimately, the ZUF's refutation is more than a denial. It is an assertion of political identity and an act of reclamation. It demonstrates how deeply intertwined truth, perception, and power have become in the hills of northeast India. The struggle is no longer confined to jungles or camps. It is now fought in the realm of narratives, in the pages of local media, and in the court of public opinion. In the months ahead, the ripple effects of this press refutation will likely shape the internal dynamics of the region's political movements. Whether ZUF's assertive stance strengthens its credibility or provokes further rivalry remains to be seen. But what is clear is that ZUF is unwilling to remain silent in the face of what it perceives as character assassination. Its message is clear. It will defend its name, its mission, and the dignity of its people with every tool at its disposal. The press statement of November 1, 2025, will therefore be remembered not only as a rebuttal of a single allegation, but as a turning point in the narrative war for legitimacy and representation in Zeliangrong politics. Disclaimer: Zeliangrong Media This analysis is prepared by Zeliangrong Media for educational and analytical purposes. It is based on the official press refutation released by the Zeliangrong United Front, ZUF, and contextual understanding of regional developments. The analysis does not represent or endorse any organization or political entity. Interpretations are intended for viewers' understanding of the evolving political discourse in northeast India. Sources: Official press refutation by the Zeliangrong United Front, dated 1 November 2025. Regional context and factional developments in Tamenglong, Manipur, 2023-2025. Public reports, media excerpts, and historical records of Naga and Zeliangrong political movements. Thank you for watching. Please do share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe Zeliangrong Media.